Warning, the voices heard in this video are made synthetically using artificial intelligence. Nothing in this video reflects anything actually stated by the real-life individuals involved. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and serious political content will be avoided for that purpose. Enjoy!
But I must have done something.
All right, viewers, I slipped our editor $20, and Barry and Donald won't be back for another 10 minutes. So just sit back and enjoy. Okay, just going to put my dog collar on here, make sure I have plenty of baby oil. And we are good to go. Let me just tune my guitar, if you know what I mean.
Well, Donald, when you're right, you are right. The McDonald's by the Pentagon does have saltier fries. Hey, Joe, we got your double McFlurry. Why do you have your headset and mic on already?
Just checking some presidential emails. No, don't look.
Joe, how the hell are you romancing Liliana right now? And is that a weird gender-bent version of... Oh, wait, hold on.
He's recording too. That's it, I'm putting a stop to... Donald, what are you doing? Let go of me.
I can't believe I'm saying this, Barack, but just this once let Joe cook here.
My God, that was everything I ever dreamed about. I can end Origins satisfied in more ways than one boy's.
Jesus Christ, congrats on losing your virginity in this series, Joe. Now, please do an intro for God's sake.
Sure thing, Barry. Viewers, I got laid, the dragon slayed, and now it's time for the piper to be paid. We have two more careers to end before I pass it off to Barry to end this blight. First things first. Now that we have access to the alienage, we can finish some of the last quests for the Blackstone and Mages Collective.
I remember saying all the way back in episode 4 that this is the longest stretch of quests to complete, and here is the proof in the flesh. We have to pick up this quest in Loithering, but we can't finish it till the end of the Landsmeet when we can actually enter this goddamn alienage. I think the better fix is to just not have had the guild quests have important objectives in the alienage and keep the alienage in a vacuum like it already is. I still don't think anything could have saved the City Elf origin from having mid-interactions without a large revamp of content. Also, Joe, why did you give that beggar money now? They are going to come back in full force like that South Park episode.
He was a wounded veteran. Donald, I support our troops.
Joe, we know for a damn fact from the City Elf origin that elves can't serve in the army, but whatever. I don't know how to feel about locking the alienage up till the end of the game on one hand. This does make the reunion with the City Elf Warden and their family that much more impactful, since they will admit they had a funeral for you at Ostagar, and the delay on seeing the City Elf's family again after such a long time is one of the only things that give the City Elf some emotional impact for their origin. But on the other hand, it also leaves quests like the Blackstone Irregulars, and just the importance of the alienage overall feels small, since you only spend a few moments here before the game ends.
Well, before we deal with whatever that huge crowd is dealing with, there's a decent side quest we can handle in the alienage involving this Templar here, who is a lot nicer than the obese Templar to my left.
Eat a dick.
Bro needs better fashion sense, though. What is he, blind or something?
Yeah, this guy should take a good hard look at himself in the mirror and ask if this is the career for him. This is probably who they send to capture the apostates given Ferelden's damn track record so far. Still, I will give a little respect to this guy. Even after being blinded, he still wants all the smoke with demons and mages.
Otto would have been a top-tier Templar if he didn't lose his eyesight. He comments on being able to feel the aura and disturbances in the area, as well as the ability to sense evil or impurity. This likely means just like Wynn and Reese. Otto may be spirit-sensitive to some degree, which would make him the first non-mage to have this ability. I wish the writers expanded on spirit-sensitive people more.
I guess he has some daredevil vision going on, too.
What's this girl's deal? She seems not fully here.
Game recognizes game, Joe?
She's an orphan who survived a raid by the human soldiers, apparently during their routine raid where soldiers come into the alienage and beat the shit out of elves just because they can. Some soldiers decided it would be fun to go into the orphanage and do the same thing. We can do a secondary quest when we explore it to give her some closure.
Since there's no therapy or medication in the Dragon Age world, closure sounds like a good goddamn idea. Well, let's go take down some ghosts.
Joe, you should be the last goddamn person to be running through an orphanage that has to be a violation of some parole agreement you made.
Oh, please, Donald. The orphanage is abandoned. Nothing to worry about, boys.
Joe, what was that?
I said, I'm not a degenerate. I'll be fine, Barry, anyway. This place is pretty scary, isn't it, boys?
You know, even if it's not that scary, I like how each Dragon Age game has some side quest that involves a haunted house or some form of horror mystery to it.
True, I really love Varric's quest in Act 3, where you can see the house stacking things in front of you and even attacking you with inanimate objects.
Good point, Joe. The improved animations did a lot for the Dragon Age 2 quest, but the horror and despair in this quest is really top tier. It's too bad this is only available so late, as nice as it is to help this guy. It doesn't thematically make sense to do this at the moment when we have the Landsmeet about to happen and we know the Blight is right outside Daenerys now.
I think that's another point towards making the alienage available earlier in the game.
At this point, we should let the viewers decide on if the alienage should have been available earlier or not. They know how to get to the bottom of the base takes.
Good point, Donald. And while we are on that subject, we should tackle today's comment question since we have something good cooking up. Joe, mind explaining it to the viewers?
Right, so viewers, this is going to be our last comment question for Dragon Age Origins. With the amount of content Barry is going to go through next episode, and the fact Awakening is going to be a whole new entry in the series. But with that being said, we wanted a final opportunity to feature our viewers, new and old, who make this series possible. So while we are fighting our way to the Archdemon, we are going to feature several viewers' answers to this question.
Thanks for the opportunity, Joe. Now go ahead and ask the question already and stop edging the
Phrasing,
viewers.
please.
Right, so viewers, what is your favorite moment in our Dragon Age series? You have almost 20 hours of content to choose from. So we expect a good variety of answers here, but for me personally, I would have to give it to the Tower Ogre fight.
Fuck you! Hang, get it up, get it up!
Joe, is that seriously your favorite moment in this series?
No, I just had to get one last lick in to trigger him. My favorite moment, without a doubt, was my duet with you, Barry. The song during Liliana's song was a close second, but I think the teamwork with you and the importance of that scene with my main girl, Liliana, was absolutely perfect, and I will treasure it always.
You're a cringe lord, you sleepy fuck, and I hope you die.
Jesus. Okay, Donald is still triggered. I guess I will go next. Well, this might come out of left field, but my favorite moment was actually our debate against Loghain at Ostagar. Not so much for the experience in that moment, but more what it led to. I feel like that was the turning point in our series where our viewers started really debating some of the takes we made, and it led to our first featured comment, which started this trend that we are now ending with an absolute banger of a question.
Okay, I think I'm ready to address you both now. First off, Barack, you are a total shill, but on to my answer now. I have a far more base take. Everything in episode 8 where I played is a absolute banger editor. You know the drill. But if I had to lock down one moment, I would give it to our introduction to our guest cameos with my man Maury. He brought back a huge throwback with your choice all the way in episode 1, and it started a trend of getting more guests like Bill and George to show up more often. Plus, it felt like we got to actually be on an episode of Maury, and that shit is just pure hype. Shout out to the president of TV right there.
I like how you called me a shill, but then you shouted out a whole episode where you played.
Because it's only cool when I do it, Barack.
All right, well, viewers, let us know your favorite moment in this series. You have a lot of moments to work with, even if it's just a moment that the game locked you in more. Then our commentary, there's no wrong answers. And like I said, our editor's going to do a bunch of these that we can shout out next episode and take a trip down memory lane to see how far we've come.
Well, with our final question asked, I guess we should get back to Presidents Play Goddamn Fatal Frame. Between fighting actual ghosts and now these camera angles, the developers did a really good job of capturing that horror game vibe.
Honestly, yeah. I wish the demons in this game were actually creepier, so that something actually scary would pop out during this scene. Compared to how scary ghouls and broodmothers look, the actual haunted demons are kind of not scary at all.
I agree, though. I think Inquisition did a really good job of upping the horror of demons and magic, especially with the Champions of the Just and in Hushed Whispers quests. Those had some actual unsettling moments that I hadn't felt at all since the Deep Roads in this game. All that being said, I agree the demons could be scarier. Hopefully that's something the design team can try to improve. I mean, I know BioWare has the ability. Mass Effect has some genuinely creepy enemies too. They just have to be creative.
All this talk is making me want to play an actual horror game. Do you boys think we could get away with it?
I would be down only because I know you would have a total crash out and it would be hilarious, Joe.
Oh, please, I ain't afraid of no ghost. I cook your ass in left for dead infected kills all the time, bozo. And I bet I have a faster speed run of Luigi's Mansion 3 than you do.
Joe, those are not horror games. And the fact that you included them should not only be impeachable, but should exclude you from any opinion on this discussion.
I mean, I have a side passion for Dead Space lore. I could go blow for blow almost as hard as I do for Dragon Age. However, that being said, I feel like my yaps might ruin the actual horror aspect of the game, so I don't know. I also feel like between all of Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate 3, and the tier lists, I think we might be pushing our editor too hard now.
Nah, fuck him. He asked us to do this. He can be responsible for the consequences if the viewers want it.
All right, Rude, but anyways, Barry, you may have a point with the spirit sensitivity on this guy. He can apparently sense demons through walls and shit.
To be fair, a Templar warden can claim they also sense something is amiss in the orphanage. It must be something with the training or the effects of the lyrium use Templars experience.
Good lore drop on the Templars, Donald. Maybe you guys are more than just Unga Bunga Holy Smite.
I wouldn't go that far, Barry.
Silence Mageling also. How are there abominations here that just spawned randomly? Those aren't ghosts. Those are physical beings, right?
I guess some people here were mages, and I guess they have been surviving on bodies or rats maybe for food. If abominations need food, that is. Why they didn't just leave the orphanage is anyone's guess. Probably best not to think too hard, hear theirs. Not any lore in this quest besides elven alienages are treated horribly, and demons are assholes.
Demons are in fact assholes. There's no debate. I mean, just look at Redcliffe, the Circle Tower, and all of Dragon Age 2. However, this demon must be smoking that elven Pantheon pack because he is spewing the same shit. Solace will eventually spout an inquisition about the Maker not existing.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to roll with the plot hole punches. Barry, also, I don't think you needed to state that about the demons. I mean, did this fuck just throw a book? That could have taken an eye out.
Damn, he wouldn't have seen that one coming, Joe.
Come on, guys, you should have better foresight than to make jokes like that.
You're right, if blind people could hear this video, they would be super upset in the comments.
Also, the rage demon has some balls. I will give him that squaring up against 5 people at once, 2 of them being Templars, and 1 of them being a frost mage.
You know, now that I think about it, just killing the ghosts and demons probably isn't enough. If demons were able to get here, that means the veil is thin, like in Soldier's Peak. That means we need to do a ritual or something. Just killing the demons isn't enough.
Barack, didn't you just say to not think too hard about it? And here you are, thinking too hard about it.
Oh no, guys, he got Otto. I never saw it coming just like him.
He will never get to see his kids ever again.
Okay, boys, get the last of the jokes out. Now, during this fight, we can't milk this too hard.
Have you seen Sir Otto's wife, Barack?
No, I haven't, Donald.
Well, neither has he.
I don't have any more blind jokes, just like Otto with that pitchfork. I don't see the point.
Okay, glad we got the blind jokes out early, so now we can have a hype episode ending the Landsmeet.
Yeah, we got a solid stream of content, but this boss fight is not one of them. I mostly just did this to add another boss counter to my list. Fun fact, this is another boss that can be one-shot by Mana Clash, if we were a mage.
Well, really, my girl Morrigan did a great job of one-shotting him as is with that 75% cold damage buff. My girl is rocking at this point. Even the demon gangbang isn't enough to take us down.
Kind of frustrating that this quest can be failed if you let Otto die, but the quest also ends with Otto dying, kind of confusing message there. Also, ironically, we get a Knight Commander shield not from Otto, but the chest in the orphanage. I'm not sure what the game designers were cooking here besides just a haunted house exploration.
Well, let's just give the crazy girl some closure with the amulet and move on, shall we, boys?
Joe, stop falling for the scam here.
Donald, this isn't a scam. These are hardworking folks. They are as honest as the voiceover Pete videos Hunter sends me, asking for my credit card and the 3 funky numbers on the back.
Oh, so that's how he keeps getting a hold of the guns and blow.
I don't know what you mean, Hunter said. All those charges were just GTA Online purchases, not actual bad stuff.
Jesus Christ.
You know, now that I think about it, maybe this whole orphanage quest should have had some tie-in to the city elf origin, Or this crazy girl could have had some tie into the city elf, so there's more narrative payoff to this quest.
Base take Donald, anything to give City Elf some more relevance to the story would have been hype. Well, let's go. Check in on Shiani's protest.
BioWare, try not to make a game with a plague storyline that hits harder in present-day challenge impossible.
That was a deep statement. Joe, the meds must be working their magic.
They're hitting harder than whatever snake oil cure the slavers are peddling. How are people buying this? They just trust the cure works despite no one coming back from the quarantine?
Well, the blight apparently infected the alienage. Since wounded survivors from Ostagar came back to Denerim and it spread to poorer areas of Denerim like the alienage, so some people were sick and desperate for a cure. Still, I'm not sure if they are healing some people and taking others or what the scheme here is, but you would think someone would be more wary of trusting people from a tevinter circle. I know there's not much education in the alienage, but the elders are at least somewhat knowledgeable and worldly enough to be hesitant about the literal slaver society.
Who the fuck opens up a conversation with a racist-ass statement like that? I don't need to help you guys, you know.
Unexpectedly renegade from you, Joe. How about we let our boys, the werewolves, loose on this town and go no Russian on their asses?
Donald, we really have to not make a trend of you exterminating the local elf and mage population every time you enter a new area. We have to celebrate our differences or some shit.
Oh, I will celebrate our differences, all right? Just wait for Dragon Age 2, Obama.
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it, Joe. Just focus up on how you're going to break COVID restrictions. That's something someone your age should know how to do.
All right, I will take that as a compliment, I suppose. But viewers, there's 3 ways to proceed here. Either we can heckle this guy hard enough to get him to attack us. We can slip in the back guarded by one dude, or we skip all this nonsense and go to the alley houses and do the next part of the quest if we have high enough lockpicking.
If we were an elf ourselves, we would also have the option to just walk up to the front door. And they would think we are just another city elf that they could capture and bring us right through the door. The plot fails once we are inside because the wanted posters Loghain made for us actually come into play.
What's even crazier is they let your elf warden in with all your weapons and armor. Like they don't even think to remove that stuff first. I think they must have gotten a lobotomy to not think about just bringing a heavily armed elf into the middle of their base.
Speaking of lobotomy, are you really going to bribe this Skyrim-ass sounding elf instead of just killing him for it?
That would be Michael Goff, who voices Alvor from Skyrim and half the Nord population from Skyrim as well. He also voices the starved veteran in the alienage, and he is one of the elf warden voices along with Mark Meir.
I would have thought you would respect his grind more, Donald. He is just trying to chase that bag. I can't blame him considering how bad the alienage is.
Well, I would respect his grind more if he wasn't working with goddamn blood mage slavers. That's the same logic as chasing the bag by helping the Mages Guild or Caesar's Legion.
One of those things is not like the other, Donald.
You're right, the Mages Guild is far worse.
Jesus Christ, Donald, also. I remember when I first played this game and got the saw swords off these guys, I was hyped. They looked way stronger than what my dual wielder already had. And they were an awesome design. This was before Soldier's Peak came out with the objectively best sword in the game.
The saw swords at the highest tier are actually pretty decent if you don't know how to get some of the god tier weapons. And before the DLC weapons became available, they have high crit chance. But now I can barely consider these things top 20 now that I know where to look.
I feel like Joe got the far easier Landsmeet portion. There's not nearly as much variety in the tevinter soldiers compared to house guards, and half their army is mages, which we cut like butter.
I mean, it is easier, but a large part of that is you could have done the stealth segment through some of those fights. And another large part is our build counters mages. So that's just how things worked out.
Hold up. Why are there city elves squaring up with us and siding with the mages? Are these guys getting paid too or something?
They are actually third-partying this fight. If you notice, the mages and soldiers attack the elves along with us. So I think they are just random bystanders that want all the smoke.
I guess they are poors with no food, clean water, or amenities. They must make their own entertainment by squaring up.
I guess that's why the Tevinter mage used the walking bomb spell. I think that is the first and only time I have seen an enemy mage use that ability.
It's the only time that spell realistically works from the enemy perspective, since its main use is on the death of a party member, and our party is almost never frail enough to be dropped by that spell. It could be an interesting point if companions were more prevalent in Dragon Age, however. I suppose some of the fights where there are multiple allies like Redcliffe or the final Daenerys battle could have made good use of the spell too.
Well, let's go check in on Shiani one last time because believe it or not, viewers, we are already at the halfway point in this quest. Also, goddamn Joe, stop falling for these scams. We are not made of money.
Donald, first of all, at this late stage, we are quite literally made of money. We already have more than we can use since you ate all our potions up and we have no infinite elf root. And secondly, these guys are all starving, war orphans.
Joe, there is literally a rich guy in a Gucci shirt who said there was free money here. How can you not see this as a scam? I am definitely not letting you handle the Blight Orphans quest line either at this rate.
Well, whatever, because I don't even know what that quest line is. And secondly, people have it rough right now. Whatever happened to the golden rule?
You are so goddamn wasteful, Joseph, but whatever, let's just move on to the back rooms.
Quick little side quest you can complete in the warehouse. Just grab the sextant in the chest here and turn it back into the chanter in the markets.
Ha! Bro said sex.
Joe, your final episode isn't even half done. You can't devolve into 4-year-old humor this early. Also, can these elves stop telling our little guy to stay in the markets where he belongs? Next elf, who racially profiles me, is not only getting the Dalish elf treatment, but is getting the K slur too.
Donald, that's unnecessary.
It's okay, my big bro Alistair gave me the pass.
Damn, remind me to ask Meryl for the pass in Dragon Age 2.
Not how that works. Also, you two are idiots.
What's this?
Hello, fellow Tevinters. I am here to do blood magic and slavery. Can you point me where we usually do that stuff?
Great natural one on the deception roll, Joe.
Oh no! I've heard of you!
Finally, someone gives some respect to how terrifying the Warden is. I think that's the first time someone gave us a panic attack that is worthy of the Warden.
Fax viewers get pumped for that series, but that's in the future. For now, we have had a pretty easy time with the tevinter bums, but the final warehouse can be difficult, depending on how you play this. So I need you to focus up here, Joe.
Don't worry, Barry. I won't get clapped up by blood mages. Who do I look like, Donald? I'm the mage expert in this group. I'm going to be just fine here.
Ain't no way you're finishing your Origins run deathless sleepy. That's just poor script writing.
Wait, what?
Don't mind him, Joe. He is just speaking in skill issue. Just focus up here. None of these fights are incredibly difficult, but they are still late game fights. Things can go wrong if you're not careful here.
That's fair. We do have sort of a sequel to the mage hideout coming up. Albeit, the traps in this hideout are way easier. And we are also way higher level. I'm not going to shit on you too hard, Donald.
This girl really said I am a proud Tevinter citizen, like they wouldn't put her first in the blood sacrifice line.
Ironically, she can be a blood sacrifice in a later fight. So, good call, Donald. We have a few options here. We can intimidate her to leave, or we can even persuade her to bring us straight to the final encounter if we wanted to speed things along.
Don't be a goddamn simp for once, Joe. No mercy for blood mages and their side hoes.
Now, unlike that guard earlier, this girl chose to be a tevinter slaver. Plus, even though she's hot, my girl Liliana wants that bow she has on her.
Weird note on the golden bow she has. The bow originates in Orlais and is prominent in the Andraste Chantry, despite Devera being from the Imperial Chantry in Tevinter, which is a different branch of the Chantry that has not been stomped out by Orlais, but is illegal to practice outside of Tevinter.
Does this bitch have Misty Step or some shit? How the hell did she teleport all the way over there on the other side of the room?
A Spellblade rogue-like class would be really hype in this series, but no, she just did some no-clip hack somehow. Also, she placed a few traps along the room, one of the few enemies to use an ounce of strategy in this game.
Imagine an NPC having to try so hard only for a major unit like our Warden to shrug it all off. Time for the RKO through the table, bitch.
God damn, it's like that, huh, Donald? Our Warden isn't getting clapped up, but our party sure was struggling to the firing squad. I should have used more bombs.
In your defense, Joe, you literally do not have any potions, so I can't really blame you for going down a few times here. It's a good thing you have two mages, because our potions are on life support right now.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Donald. You left us with only like 5, thanks to your estate fight.
Eat a dick, I got the job done, didn't I?
Skill issue. Anyways, one thing I realized is that the Daenerys alienage has a whole leadership base to it with Valendrian as the Heron, but the alienage in Dragon Age 2 doesn't have anything like that.
I mean, not to bash your favorite game, Joe, but that's probably because the alienage has like 4 houses in total. The designers didn't really put any work into the alienage. In Kirkwall, they really just needed a logical place to put Meryl's house. There is no other important NPC in the alienage besides like Fenariel's mother and that psycho blood mage in Act 3.
Maybe if they put more money into the game than the cost of a Big Mac, the Kirkwall alienage could have been great.
Maybe you should make that your new campaign slogan, Donald, make alienages great again, 2024.
Joe, if I take campaign advice from the dude who gave up, I might as well bend over faster than if my name was Barack.
What the fuck? I didn't even say anything.
Yeah, true, but you're still a bitch?
Hell yeah, I ate up his hot assistant time to do it to him next.
Heavy pause.
Oh, look, it's Loghain's zesty tevinter brother, and just like his brother, he is ass at trade deals. Who in their right mind ever bargains with these pricks?
For those confused at the joke, this guy is also voiced by Simon Templeman, just like Loghain.
Thanks, Nerdbama. But I agree, Donald. Even if you are playing the biggest villain warden, he doesn't offer you anything that you can't just take off him. And the best deal you get is to just skip the fight for free. The fight isn't even that hard. Come on, do better, BioWare.
Man, this gives me a throwback to our episode 3 discussion about the loithering toll, where there is no reason, good or evil, to not deal with these guys, since there's no unique reward for doing so. It would have been far more beneficial if they gave us power for our Blight Army, or personal power like the Desire Demon. That being said, the writers did a lot of work on the negotiation aspect of this encounter. Regardless, first of all, there's no amount of speech that will make them agree to releasing the slaves, since that's the whole reason they came here. Secondly, if you convince Devera to bring you straight to the leader without fighting her, it becomes impossible to pass the speech check to get the documents for free, since Caldrius will think his chances of winning are higher with Devera there. Also, every party member disagrees with sparing the slavers, except for Morrigan and Sten. Ironic that Sten approves of sparing tevinter slavers, considering he is a Kunari. They kind of have constant beef with all of Tevinter. You think he would want to square up and disapprove if we didn't.
Common Sten L.
Sten his mission above all else. Maybe he makes the Tevinter beef take a back seat to the objective. Wait, hang on. What's Morgan's excuse?
My beloved goth mommy's grind set is beyond your sleepy liberal understanding, Joe.
All right then. Well, on the positive side, this is the best mage boss fight in Origins easily. Not only does this dude have high-level spells like Blizzard, Chain Lightning, and Crushing Prism, but he also has blood magic and actively sacrifices the foot soldiers to heal himself, and also he can cast Blood Wound, one of the strongest spells in the game. This also makes him one of the 4 bosses in this game that can heal, which makes him a good Curse of Mortality victim if you wanted that high IQ gameplay.
Fuck the high IQ gameplay, Joe. The Templar specialization is all we needed to clap this dude up.
Yeah, for real, he is already down for the count. Not that I would ever accept the deal, by the way, but just out of curiosity for the viewers, Barry, how much of a buff does this deal give?
1 constitution point.
What? 1 point? Are you sure you didn't forget to add a 0 or maybe 2 zeros there, Barack?
Nope, I have no idea what the game designers were thinking with the evil decision rewards for this quest. The first decision, if done perfectly, just skips a fight and doesn't reward any extra gold or loot. The second decision gives you 1 con point and nothing else.
I guess one thing of interest is this quest completes the trend of letting you be an absolute villain when playing a city elf warden. First, you can sell your betrothed and cousin to be SA'd by Vaughn in exchange for a bag. Then you can either let your own father be sold into slavery by Tevinter or sacrifice him for a small boost in power. Doing all that, plus several of the other renegade decisions, makes the city elf warden a bigger menace than even Loghain was.
That kind of run makes the Dark Urge look like a Sunday cartoon villain in comparison.
Yeah, I guess there is something to be said about being evil for the sake of evil. I mean, look at Fable, but personally, I think adding high-tier rewards behind evil decisions is much more morally interesting. Also, speaking of the city elf origin, there is really only one major distinction when playing the city elf origin versus playing any other origin during this section. As Donald mentions, instead of meeting the elder here, we would encounter our father, who was also captured. In this scenario, the elder was already sold before we arrived. Our father would then give us a unique dagger that belong to our mother Adiah,
Please, come
a much better reward
How is
than what the elder gives us.
He's been a
Also,
friend of
it's
mine
implied
for
in our
many
scenario
years.
that the city elf warden's father is taken away instead of the elder in our current universe.
Adiah also makes a small cameo in Liliana's song that we forgot to include. She can be rescued from the Arl's dungeon, while Liliana is also breaking out of said dungeon, my bad boys.
Common Joel, so much for being a man of the people.
Eat a dick. Donald, you weren't even there.
Well, let's move on to the last bit of side content, shall we, Joe?
Good point, Barry. I know we haven't directly mentioned them for like half the series. But while I was in the alienage, I finished the last quests for the Blackstone Irregulars and the Mages Collective now. We have the final quest for each, where we get to make a small moral choice. Neither of these have much impact on the game, they just affect role-playing, but what do we think about these choices, boys?
They're mid as hell. This should have bolstered our armies or something, but they literally don't matter, and I forget to do them half the time.
I'm torn here, but I agree they both could have been way better by having some impact on the ending. Like I said earlier, I appreciate the build-up both guilds had. Blackstone made it clear early with the Deserters quest, there were two leaders, and one of the leaders wasn't exactly telling us the full story. The Mages Collective has the same situation, showing that there are two knight commanders impacting the Mages Collective. One is strict and traditional, and the other is bribable and lax. They had a strong setup to tell a compelling guild story, like what the Elder Scrolls does, but instead we got a simple choice of who to side with for roleplay reasons. In fact, the rewards for each are the exact same payment.
So all that yapping just to reveal that they are mid-quests?
Yeah, pretty much, but I want the experience, and the Blackstone quest at least counts as a boss counter. Plus, it's possible some people haven't seen these quests, so let's get it.
Whatever, even with 3 bosses, you're still in 3rd place, Sleepy.
Well, actually, Donald, unlike you, I get to kill Cawthorne at the Landsmeet, don't forget.
Oh, eat a dick that still leaves you in 3rd place.
Well, we will just have to see, won't we?
I know we just said there's not much of a choice here, but sparing Rallinor just feels right.
Who cares? Just hurry and wipe one of these piss ants out so we can get to the good shit.
Well, hold on, Donald. Say what you will about Rallinor, but he is a pretty decent guy and a clear choice for who you should side with in this quest. He modeled Blackstone after the Grey Wardens when he took over the guild from his father, wanting to bring honor and glory to the guild and assist Ferelden in times of the war like the Blight. Ralnor's father and Ralnor's son want to go back to being hired muscle, willing to take on any job available focused on pure profit and nothing more.
So you two liberals are choosing the option that makes the business less profitable. Unsurprising, you two are practically allergic to making money. Won't someone think of the struggling shareholders?
Think, Mark. Having mercenaries who are prophets before ethics is the exact problem we have been facing all game in Denerim with Howe and his corrupt guards. Tauren would have had no problems accepting a contract with Howe to kill us if the bag was big enough. And Howe certainly won't be the last corrupt noble who tries to kill good people.
Well, that's easy. Just don't work for Howe and we have no problem. And to quote Zevran, some people just need assassinating.
Donald, I'm choosing the option that will make sure these guys would never work for someone like Howe, since the gold payout is the same anyway.
It doesn't really make sense to leave Denerim with the Landsmeet about to start, but if we don't do this quest now, we are locked out of it after we finish the Landsmeet. Also, Anders has certainly fallen from grace being a simple merc for hire. I noticed his original voice actor voices like half of the guild, NPCs, for this quest, which always feels jarring, seeing his voice actor in minor roles, when he plays major roles in Awakening and Inquisition.
Jesus Christ, I just realized that every single henchman this dude has is a Barak main with the dual-wield rogue builds. Despite this being a mercenary band, there isn't a damn warrior for miles in his gang.
Ironically, if you noticed his dad's gang earlier, they were all rogues as well. So we would have had an annoying fight regardless. I wonder though if you could have pulled some of the guards like Sergeant Kylon to help in the fight, since we are in Denerim after all.
Maybe we should have done that since Joe is fucking up this encounter hard. You got Win and my wife killed, you piece of shit.
Eat a dick rogues clap up mages, and we start out this fight, surrounded on all angles. It doesn't really matter. Our warden is immune to backstab, and Liliana is the clutch queen. So this fight is going to end. Eventually, it will just be a bit slower since we are low on damage.
You know, just once I would like Vessel of Spirit to pop up for us. I think it was used once off screen in a Brazilian forest fight. when we were exploring, and other than that it hasn't been used since the fixed encounter where it auto-activates.
Well, if it didn't in this fight, I don't think we will see it activate again this playthrough. Since there ain't no way you aren't bringing Alistair and my wife to the final fight, and as much as it pains me to say it, bring the Bard too, that's the most thematic team we can end on. They were the original 4, not including Bo. Which means all that yapping you did on the Vessel of Spirit was pointless.
I'm down for that team too, though. Maybe we should save that conversation for the final episode. Anyways, we clutched up the boss. So time to get to the most narratively perfect moments in this series.
Truer words were never spoken. The former hero of Ferelden squares up with the new hero of Ferelden in a battle of wits and strength, both fighting for their land's future. Also, before we head to the Landsmeet, are you going to talk to Anora? We actually skipped her last episode.
Emma, be real? She's still my ruler choice. But there's not much reason to talk to her. She just takes us to Yap City over topics we have already pretty extensively covered already. She talks about how her father is power mad, but was a good person. We covered that multiple times. She then tries to say she would be a better ruler. Then, Alistair and I already covered that. Finally, she tries to bribe us, but the boon is offered to us regardless of who's king, so we can cover those choices next episode. Honestly, unless I'm playing a male human noble, I never really talk to her. Also, I'm going to bring Bo with us for 2 unique interactions, the first being right here in the market. I feel like some people forget to bring the Mabari along, so maybe they haven't seen either of these interactions.
Ooh, good call, Joe. Looks like Bo sensed some good vibes deeper into the market.
POV, you're an introvert at someone else's house, and they have a pet.
Sorry, boy, but we can't adopt a kid. It didn't work out too well in Baldur's Gate 3, and it won't end well here either.
Good thing we didn't name him Commander. That kid would have been a chew toy.
Eat a dick, Commander's a good boy too.
Well, I guess it's time for round 2 with Loghain's side hoe.
No, I can't go back a third time.
Jesus Christ. Donald, chill out. She just insulted our big bro, Alistair. Here, we must stay strong and put our foot down. What happened to Dominant Donald?
Sorry, you're right. It's just this game hits all my triggers sometimes. I'm glad we can be on the same side for once. Let's introduce her ass to the curb.
Well, I'm impressed that you guys are able to be united for once. Good character development. But you guys do know that Cawthorine is technically optional. We could just intimidate her or persuade her to surrender and let us pass.
Screw that no mercy for arresting the future president.
Okay, let's not get crazy now, Donald. I'm just trying to get us united for the end. You still aren't getting my house. That being said, I'm killing this girl for 2 main reasons. 1, I want that increase in boss counter. And 2, I don't think it's a good idea to keep someone stronger than the Archdemon loose without being strictly loyal to us.
You meant to add the fact she arrested me to the list, right, Joe?
No, that was hilarious. If I wanted to add that to the list, I would have. Anyway, she really is Loghain's cheerleader. She is completely aware of the bad shit he's done, but is still here glazing him up anyway.
Well, Cawthorine rescued a man being chased by bandits. Even though she was only a preteen, she still fought them off successfully.
Why do we care about this?
The man being chased was Loghain, who taught her how to be a soldier. And through Loghain's connection and her own hard work, she became the second to his armies.
Yeah, that's cool, good for her, but I'm not gonna just ignore the fact that Loghain was running away from some mid-tier bandits. That's just one reason why he is gonna get absolutely destroyed.
Speaking of getting absolutely destroyed, let's avoid a repeat of the Cawthorine fight, shall we, Joe?
Don't worry, I'm going to flex some blood mage strength off the bat while Alistair and Bo tanks the demigod. Once again, I have to stress, Blood Mage was a good pick on our damage dealer since Blood Wound is easy goddamn money to clear a whole fight with no friendly fire damage.
20 episodes later and you finally admit that Mage is a brain-dead easy class? Today is really my day?
The class itself isn't brain dead. Donald just really strong, but those 2 specializations combined is insane, and I don't recommend using it unless you really just want to easy clear everything in sight. Blood Wound can CC almost everything but undead, and bosses and combat magic lets you equip heavy armor and avoid all damage.
True, and plus, it's much more fun to experiment with spells in this game anyway, rather than using the most OP strategy or min-maxing everything.
I'm surprised, Barack. I thought you were the king of min-maxing in this game.
Not at all. I haven't really min-maxed anyone. I could have gone way harder with the squad if I wanted to. Sure, I built our warden optimally, but that's because warriors need an optimal build if they are going to do more than just tank in this game.
So this wasn't you try-harding?
No, if I was going to do that, I would have went my max dex dual-wield solo nightmare rogue build, and you would see every poison, bomb, and potion on my spell tray.
Damn, I just got some chills when he said that.
Well, while you're at it, chill this dick on your lips, bozo, because I just schooled you on how to beat Cawthron.
That fight had a third of the damn troops I had to face, and mine was rigged in a supposed-to-lose fight, while this one you're supposed to win. Don't stroke your shit too hard with Cope Joe.
Well, if you two are done with your couples therapy, it's time to finally cook Loghain.
Yeah, true. We flung open that door so hard, all of Daenerys heard it.
Well, we got the battle of two voice acting legends, McTavish versus Templeman. Wish we got more than the last bit of that conversation.
They are both great, but Templeman edges out for the victory here between Kine and Jacob Danik. It's hard to top his performance.
Wow, some actual positivity about Loghain, Donald. I am impressed.
Don't get your hopes up. He is still a cowardly bitch. Just look at him, sassily slow clapping. I just like the voice actor.
Fair enough. It was worth a shot. Also, Loghain has a good poker face. If we are here, that means his second in command is either dead or given up on him. Either way, that's a bleak future for him.
Here we have the puppeteer.
Oh, you want to see a puppeteer? How about I shove my fist up your ass so you can see what a real puppet looks like?
Have you paused?
Don't let him talk to us like that. Joe clapped back at him.
Oh, you think the Blight's bad? That's funny. I know that Chevrolet is bad, but he is only taxing. Darkspawn 8%. If we got that up to 24 or 25%, one of those numbers, we could do a lot.
Joe, what in the actual fuck are you saying right now?
Oh, shit. It's the crowds. He is getting stage fright again. Joe just picked the third option.
Obama, this is actually Joe Verbro is just rambling nonsense like he is in a debate with me. There's no goddamn way we can get through 2 more dialogue checks.
Just have some faith here, Donald. I have a backup if this gets worse. Also, the name of the game with the Landsmeet is evidence. If you use 2 arguments without evidence, you will auto-lose the Landsmeet. For example, if you start with Alistair's claim, then follow up by accusing Loghain of his Ostagar treason, you automatically lose the debate.
Well, it's funny, he talks about the border of Ferelden is great. But if you don't vote for me, you ain't Ferelden.
That's it, where's my gun?
All right, it's time for Plan Scorched Earth. Joe Loghain plans on deporting Liliana and selling Merrill to the Tevinter slavers.
Now, what the fuck did your balding British ass just say to me? That's why you and Hal make snuff films in his basement while you make passionate love on Aor Legion flag. And before you try to deny it, why don't you take a look at the receipts, bozo?
Oh shit, Sleepy is finally going Dark Brandon mode.
Also funny you talk about honor. How honorable is it to partner with Uldred, who not only tried to overthrow the Circle, but also would convince young teenage mages to do blood magic, and even gave up one of those mages to you to poison Aemon, causing a massacre in Redcliffe.
Holy shit, he's actually backed into a corner here. You're actually winning.
Also important to note that the Joan argument with proof from the Templar in Hal's dungeon is the strongest argument you can make, as it results in 2 points instead of 1. This is because the Grand Cleric publicly scolds Loghain, showing how important the Andrastian faith is in Ferelden politics.
Well, it's time to get betrayed by Loghain's daughter. Too bad we are just built different and it's not going to matter.
Some guys probably are into the whole betrayal gaslighting thing she has going on, to be fair.
That is definitely TMI, Joe, but good to have you back at least.
You know, it's pretty crazy. She outright admits that she offered a chance to ally with us, despite saying that we are trying to defame Loghain and put an imposter on the throne. Like, is that not a clear conflict of interest?
Yeah, no, she's dumb as hell to admit that. And secondly, we haven't even gotten to that election part of this Landsmeet. We are still discussing why Loghain should not be regent.
Oh, when she turned on us. What a shock. She seemed like such a nice despot.
How cutthroat. Mother would adore her.
Nobles have the attention span of goldfish. I guess Loghain has a good career in politics, after all.
Again, Loghain is an amazing orator. Here and directly after he loses are without a doubt 2 of the best speeches in this game. However, the substance of what he says never holds much weight. Sure, Ferelden has to be united. But Loghain, you are uniting against the wrong damn threat, and you don't even have the full picture
that
here.
he may have royal blood. For 5 years, Anora has been queen and proven herself worthy of the Therin name. She can lead our people through this crisis.
So every vote in this Landsmeet besides this one, Joe looking fuck are going to be on our side, but the votes are only part of the point process. The other factors are if you had Anora's support, if you got the Grand Cleric scolding, and if you made any arguments without evidence, the final dude will always announce who wins.
You need 5 points in total, and Anora gives 3 points on her own if you have her support, which is why we decided against her support in the Landsmeet, to challenge ourselves. Also, the slaver documents we worked half the episode to get are not even good evidence to use. They don't even give a point, which again shows how Ferelden nobility really doesn't care about elves.
That just feels like more fuel for my idea that they should have cranked the evil options in the alienage up to 11 by letting you side with Tevinter to bolster your armies.
Joe, stop trying to enslave the elves.
Donald, stop trying to genocide the elves.
Ha! You lose, bitch.
Get absolutely bodied, Loghain. Imagine losing any debate to Sleepy Joe. Couldn't be me.
Peak speech incoming, which also shows how far gone Loghain is at this point.
When his troops flattened your fields and raped your wives! You fought with us once, Eamon. You cared about this land once. Before you got too old and fat and content to even see what you risk. None of you deserve a say in what happens here. None of you have spilled blood for this land the way I have.
The one cope is real.
A noble speech, but it's time to bite the curb.
If we didn't win the debate, we would have a battle royal first before the duel happens, which means, I guess, winning isn't as impactful as it should be, but winning is definitely more thematic.
While it would have been funny to get the #1 victory royale, I agree defeating him with a debate was far more satisfying.
I would never consider someone Sleepy Joe defeated in a debate an enemy, but I'll respect the wishes of a dying man, and you can take the compliment in considering yourself my enemy.
The tradition Alfstana mentions refers to Calenhad Therin beating the piss out of Simeon the Terran of Denerim in a duel during the Exalted Age 4 centuries ago to establish the Therin dynasty. Makes for a thematic moment if we have the descendant Therin Alistair beat the piss out of Terran Loghain, if you think about it.
Oh, I got the perfect champion in mind. Bite this fraud bow.
Warden, no. I'm afraid we can't leave the fate of all Ferelden up to you.
Oh, hell no. Eamon, it's on site. I know you didn't just say our dog is unloyal.
Massive Eamon elbow could have been great. I guess we have to do the job ourselves, boys. At least it will be a warrior-on-warrior duel, which means we are not only on even terms with Loghain, but it's also thematic as hell.
Hell yeah, this fight is just the right amount of tension. The side NPCs do their job well at standing and gasping at every little thing we do too.
Yeah, rogues and mages can absolutely cheese this duel and make it so Loghain can't even land a hit. You also have a point on the thematic aspect, Donald. We haven't talked about it yet, but even though your player character can be any class, narratively there's certain classes that make sense for certain games. Warrior always felt like what fits the hero of Ferelden the best, and similarly, the Inquisitor always made the most sense as a mage, given the anchor they wield is already magical in nature. Hawk has always been the most flexible in terms of classes compared to the other two. Obviously, people have their own preferences regardless, but there's still some main characters that fit the role of a class thematically.
Writing that down for a future comment question, Barry, but time to out-tank this war criminal, boys.
It's actually dead even, which is crazy considering how much health and armor we have. Loghain has a little fight in him.
Well, he had some fight in him. It's all Jover now.
If Alistair duels him, he insta-kills him, but when our warden does or someone else does, he will yield, and we get the option to spare him and initiate him in the wardens, which is actually what a lot of viewers wanted us to do.
Well, the viewers can go watch episode 8 at 18 minutes and 8 seconds to see what I think about their opinions on sparing their daddy war criminal Loghain. Now, Joe, we got him right where we want him. Time to take him out.
Well, about that.
Nah, editor, roll the tape. You agreed with any decision we made?
With that acknowledgement, I think I can happily agree to whatever fate you cook up with Joe for Loghain when we get to the Landsmeet. Oh, I know I did, but what about him?
What's good, Barry? Where's that general you promised me to take the fight to Loghain?
George, why the hell do you even care about sparing Loghain?
Well, I got you, editor. Roll the clip. Boys, I have officially decided that Marjolaine and everyone else from Fantasy France have oil and need some freedom. My fellow Americans, who is with me?
Probably like half the player base, George, most people hate Orlesians.
I can loan you a good general for that crusade later on in this playthrough, depending on what happens, George.
Jesus Christ, this is all for some companion that gets less than an hour of screen time?
Yes, and talk about him like that again, and I will put you over my knee, Donny boy.
Bring it, bitch. Also, you are a guest cameo. You don't get voting power in our game, and Barack, you already agreed to concede to me and Joe. So this was a valiant effort, but me and Joe are still on the same page, right, Joe? It's all right, Joseph. Just go ahead and push the kill Loghain button.
Okay, hear me out, boys.
God damn it, you sleepy brain-dead fuck. Can you, for once in your 500-year-old life, stick to a goddamn choice, you puppet prick?
Look, I don't know if it's the clarity of dropping out of the presidency or the post-nut clarity of banging Leliana, but I feel much less burdened and vengeful. And I think if we can't give Honora the crown and make Alistair a warden, we should make Loghain the warden rep instead.
I hate all of you so damn much. Way to screw over our big bro for a lying snake.
Look, only Barry and me have to talk, or have him around Donald. By the time it's your next episode, we will start awakening, and you won't have him in the party.
Yes, but he will still be alive. Whatever, just reveal our featured comment from last episode and the graph Sleepy.
Cope-harder Big Dog. That's for switching my meds. So once again, our editor did make a graph, and it is a landslide victory for joint leadership. Our featured comment from last episode comes from Vasaya Pupkin, 1489, who not only made a crazy good point electing my girl as Landsmeet champion to disrespect Loghain, which I agree sounds really satisfying to let my girl cook, but also gave great thematic reasons for joint rulership, as well as some moral reasons for joint rulership and sparing Loghain. Thank you for your comment, and we can't wait to hear about your favorite moment in today's question.
You all are a bunch of simps, especially you, Joe.
Oh, cheer up, Donald. Alistair's still king, and we have a more interesting Inquisition choice, probably one you have never seen.
Yes, but I still have to deal with Honora's piss-poor speech skill and Loghain's coward juices leaking everywhere in our story.
Cope-harder.
You are called upon to submit yourself to the taint for the greater good. From this moment forth, you are a Grey Warden.
I understand.
If this dude dies from the joining juice, I will pay all my owed taxes from the last decade.
Nope. Like you said, Loghain is a great warrior. He's not getting clapped that easily.
Welcome to the Darkspawn Consensus, Big Dog.
Hell yeah, glad I could be of service in getting our general to drink the chug jug. Let me know when that Orlesian invasion is happening, boys. Peace out.
I had to give Honora a little shit for betraying us in the Landsmeet. But compared to Balin, literally killing our brother and gaslighting everyone to think it's our fault, Honora's betrayal was just a minor inconvenience. We didn't even lose anything.
Honora would be chewed up and spit out by the Orzammar Assembly, let's be real.
On that, we can agree this girl doesn't have the backbone to back up her deceit. She would have been decapitated on the first sign of betrayal.
Well, let's have one last conversation with our big bro.
Alistair, I'm so sorry. The Democrats rigged another vote. It wasn't my call, big bro. I just hope you keep the grind set I taught you and rule as the goated king you are.
So after all that thematic talk about Alistair's gear, he is walking off with it. We did grab Merrick's sword and Alistair's rings to put on Loghain, though.
Wait, so he's just walking off with the king's gear we just got?
Yeah, thematically he deserves to keep it as much as it sucks to lose it optimally. Them's the breaks.
Honestly, it's what you two deserve for betraying Alistair.
Just like Alistair, you'll get over it anyways. Let's go check on Loghain at camp, shall we? He has some unique dialogue to explore.
Sense of humor, it seems. I suppose you think I'm some sort of monster. More so since I survived your ritual. You keep striking at me, and I just refuse to die.
Absolutely, besides sparing him so the Grey Wardens have more numbers in Ferelden, since Alistair was going to leave to be king anyway, we can learn a mountain of information about his character that we otherwise would not have. Whether you like him or hate him, our character can only have 3 conversations with Loghain before he dies. If we don't recruit him into the Grey Wardens, that's hardly enough time to really learn about his character. While he has more insight into Ferelden politics than probably any other character we meet in this game, the main character traits he he gives is passive-aggressive depression at being kept alive and a huge martyr complex to avoid facing his failures and instead go out trying to save the world.
All right, I may hate this guy and your nerdy obsession with dialogue barracks, but I'm going to take small comfort in showing him a big fat "I told you so" when he finds out the Blight literally can't end without Grey Wardens.
Indeed, I'd almost forgotten.
And how ill-prepared he was for this Blight when our Warden ends it with low diff.
See, now you're getting in the spirit, Donald. Also, Loghain seems to have the same inferiority complex that Oghren has, not wanting others to speak his failures, and instead speaking them himself first. It's just Loghain is more of a pragmatic soldier when he does it, while Oghren is a drunken goofball.
Okay, what Psychology Today article did you grab that from, Joe? There's no way your ass came up with that on your own.
Unexpectedly insightful, Joe. Good shit. I never noticed that they didn't have the same writer, but I can still see the parallel. Loghain's inferiority complex is mostly overshadowed by the martyr complex, though since, like you said, he is a soldier at the end of the day.
Damn, that was a huge amount of approval from one conversation. This dude's easier than a worker at the Blooming Rose.
Well, he kind of has to be theirs. Only a brief window of time you can talk to him before the endgame starts.
So apparently, Honora lied to her servant about being in mortal danger because Loghain is pretty straightforward in saying he wouldn't have killed her, and she was being dramatic.
That's easy to say in hindsight also. He is leaving out the fact that Howe was the one that captured Honora, not him. And he can't speak for Howe's chaotic, stupid actions. In fact, Loghain has been nothing but blind to his actions, all game.
Kind of crazy, out of all the dialogue options we get for Loghain, we don't get one that confronts his alliance with Howe, like why he sided with him and allowed him to commit crimes unchecked. We can get special dialogue confronting him as a city elf for his alliance with the Tevinter slavers, but no special dialogue as a human noble to confront him.
Honestly, that's probably for the best. There is no explanation good enough for working with Howe, and we can all guess it primarily was because of their common hatred of Orlais.
I do like the humanization of Merrick and Honora that Loghain offers, though, even if the former is not important to the story of origins, and the latter is just as corrupt and sly of a politician as Bellin, but without the progressive beliefs Bellin has.
If that's how you feel, why did you want her to rule alone, then Sleepy, or did you already forget?
Well, I don't think she would have made a bad ruler. She's not as evil as Balin. She's just manipulative, like him. Plus, I really just wanted to see Alistair as a Grey Warden. Still, I think the viewers would have enjoyed the cameos.
Nah, that's still pretty lame. Our big bro deserved the throne, end of story.
On that we agree, Donald? Well, on to the last few pieces of lore we can get out of Loghain, boys. There's a lot we can get out of Merrick, but like Joe said, it's not painfully relevant to our story. One thing I will say about Loghain's beef with Alistair is he claims that Alistair was given up by Merrick to Aemon, so that Rowan wouldn't have resented Alistair by having a constant reminder of Merrick's affair. But Merrick didn't have an affair. In the book, The Calling, Merrick is grieving over Rowan's death, and that's when he meets Fiona and conceives Alistair. So seems like there was a small retcon here because Merrick grieving over Rowan is pretty important to the story in The Calling.
In that case, Loghain's beef with Alistair is mostly just because he was a threat to Honora's rule, and that he is a puppet to Aemon. Loghain's views on Aemon are pretty interesting. They are the first arguments we see towards Aemon not being the stand-up, honorable guy, and instead someone being stuck to tradition at the cost of everything else, which is the same critique people give Harrowmont.
First off, Joe, based that you're finally siding against Harrowmont. And secondly, I'm not sure we should be taking criticism about Aemon from the guy who literally ordered his assassination. Loghain is hardly unbiased.
He might be biased, but some of what he says still adds up. For example, it would make sense Aemon knew something about Connor's condition, unless he was completely detached from his son. Those signs of magic Joan mentions would have been pretty obvious. And Joan being hired as a tutor for Connor on Aemon's dime seems out of place since Joan is way too young to be a scholar. I guess we will never know, but I think Aemon just wanted to keep appearances in front of Joan and us so he wouldn't get any blowback.
Connor's gift. Aemon knew, and he allowed it to be hushed up so the boy could remain heir.
Better that than allow the Arling to
Your
go
war
to his
criminal boyfriend
childless
just mentioned
younger
your fan
brother,
service
only to
boyfriend
pass
Tegan
out the
Barak.
hands of the
Do you
Gelling
need a moment to
family
clean
altogether.
yourself off?
This discussion
Eat a Dick
proves
Donald.
it.
I maintain myself, unlike
I may
some
be
people.
wrong.
Kind of crazy that Loghain's prediction about Redcliffe falling to Tegan is on point.
By
That's
all means.
exactly what happens in the epilogue and in Inquisition.
Hate
Loghain might not be a great politician himself, but he certainly has tremendous insight into Ferelden politics.
Too bad he didn't use that knowledge to see what a snake how is.
Well, one final bit of lore out of Loghain. We can see why he has such deep-rooted paranoia of Orlays and why he yapped about it all. Landsmeet.
As we covered earlier, Loghain almost certainly made the right call not allowing Orlesian chevaliers to aid the kingdom, but he should have let in the politically neutral Grey Wardens and not tried to rally the Landsmeet behind blind fear-mongering when the Blight was at the city's walls. Keep the shitty treatment of the common folk during the occupation in mind. It will come up later.
I made a tactical error.
Well,
In any
shit,
case,
Loghain
there's no
actually owned up to a mistake. He did it in a passive way, but I will take it. Eat shit,
course.
dickhead.
Well, that's about as positive as Donald will be about this. So let's move on to one more character interaction. We never found out Bodan's origin story in all the time we have been at camp. Might as well do it now, it's pretty interesting. And we are going to see plenty of these two down the line.
All hail our Lord Sandel. May the enchantments be with you, and may a force rune be shoved firmly in Loghain's ass.
You know, it's crazy. I actually forgot to talk to them all series. We should hear their origin now, since I don't think we get a chance in 2 to hear their story. And at the very least, I think Sandel will have some relevance in Veilguard.
If the Lord Enchanter deems the Veilguard worthy of his aid, that is.
Damn, Donald, you're doing tricks on it. Also, holy shit, Bodan actually has unique banter with the Dwarven noble. It feels like it's been forever since we have had any special interactions with characters.
It quite literally has been that way since we left Orzammar, which is halfway through the series. We've just been getting the same Dwarven reactions from NPCs since then. But Dwarf Noble still has far more interactions than most other origins.
Yeah, that's all well and good, boys, but Bodan needs to watch his damn mouth. The dwarves' glory is definitely not lost. And with Balin and our dwarf warden around Orzammar's future has never been more up.
You might be coping a little too hard. Sure, Orzammar is looking more positive than when we left, but they still have terrible decline from the Blight and the Darkspawn at the gates.
We are going to pull through. We are built different.
Maybe one day they will show that, but for now we just have to guess. Bodan is a little morally dubious in this game, but it's not like our warden has any room to talk concerning this. Bodan's business in Orzammar functioned by Bodan, hiring castless to loot through the deep roads for artifacts, and then resell those ancient artifacts. He was arrested when an item he was selling was off a recently dead noble who passed in the deep roads. He was exiled to the surface, but he still kept up the same business, now scavenging things in our travels that people left fleeing the Blight, which are the items he sells to us.
I mean, it sounds bad the way he puts it, but we scavenge shit off the dead all the time. It's really hard to judge him for it.
Well, he never mentioned his son, or AKA God, as Donald puts it, so let's find out what that's about.
He is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
Calm down, Liam Neeson. Sandal's origins are far more elaborate than how Bodan tells the story he was found below the Aegican Teg in a chamber with a detailed lyrium mural depicting paragons, elves, dragons, and unknown beings that were, in hindsight, likely the Titans. When Bodan asked Sandal what he was doing here, Sandal simply said, "They are coming." And not a few seconds later, Darkspawn attacked. Bodan carried Sandal out of the deep roads and adopted him as his son. On the surface, Sandal is just a clear case of savant syndrome favoring enchantment and lyrium manipulation over social interaction. But many, like Donald here, think there is something far more powerful going on, given the running gag of him taking out squadrons of Darkspawn and demons off-screen. Hopefully we can see his return in Veilguard in October.
Praise be the young Lord, let us go and carry out his will.
True enough, we have stayed in camp long enough.
Well, let's go see how well Redcliffe is thriving after we saved it, boys.
I'm sure everyone's small business has started back up, including Trump Taverns, and the local economy is flourishing because of it.
Jesus Christ, what democratic protest took place here?
Looks like it was a riot for Darkspawn civil rights or affordable Darkspawn camps.
We'll get to work, Joe. We have to evict these spawn out of our village.
Don't worry, Donald. I'm not going to let the spawn destroy the village you spent all episode protecting.
I could give less of a shit about protecting the village. But Trump Taverns is important enough that I'm willing to have our warden and you two die trying to defend it. Just think of that alliteration. It's hard to find such sheer marketing power.
I mean, not exactly the call to action fitting of our warden story, but I guess that is a good point.
Hey boys, couldn't help but overhear you all were in Redcliffe again. I forgot to share a hidden Easter egg last time you all were here. Do you want me to show you boys how to unlock the hidden threesome in Redcliffe? Wait, why the hell is everything on fire?
What's good, Bill? I'm doing the second round of defending Redcliffe before I pass it off to Barry for our final episode in Origins with the Battle for Daenerys.
Oh shit, you boys are close to the end then. I never thought I would see the day I thought at our editors and Barack's pace this series was going to take you a whole ass year, every game.
To be fair, it almost did. Wait a minute. Can you go back to what you were saying a minute ago when you came in, Bill? Where is the hidden sex scene?
No, we absolutely do not need to go back to that. But anyway, Bill, while we have you here, you're a classic Dragon Age fan like the rest of us. I'm sure you had time to watch the new Veilguard trailer last week. What were your thoughts about it? It's been a while since any of us talked about Veilguard.
Yeah, honestly, it looked hype as shit, and the new graphics really make some baddies stand out to me. It looks like they are cranking magical abilities to a 12 out of 10, which on one hand could offer some unique gameplay experiences like the Anchor and Inquisition, but it also poses some lore problems like why Harding has those Titan powers from the Descent DLC.
Yeah, I can only guess the Titans are acting up because of Solus fucking up the Veil, but I'm down for the lore breaks if it gives us some hype moments. You two are ignoring the most important highlight in that trailer. My mommy Morrigan is back and is embracing her inner Flemeth with her new design. I've drained a whole bottle of lotion to that trailer yesterday alone.
Same, Donald, same.
I could have gone my whole life without knowing that.
Based, but it makes perfect sense. Morrigan is back. Not only is there a Witch of the Wild's hole to fill, since Flemeth got ate by Solus, but Morrigan was one of the two options that serves Mythal, which likely means by extension Solus. So it's possible Morrigan is even allied with Solus now.
Oh shit, that's a conundrum for Donald. Do you continue your Solus hate or join Morrigan?
That clever egg-shaped bastard, he found the one way I would ever side with him by having Goth Mommy serve as his proxy. Guess the veil needs to be torn down after all, boys.
Donald would legit serve everything he hates in the world just to keep having Morrigan step on him.
I mean, that's pretty valid. Goth girl stepping on you is a physiological need like food and water.
Hell yes, Bill. I knew there's a reason we keep you around.
Well, on the topic of Morrigan, there's an even bigger elephant in the room. Kieran is 9 or 10 in Inquisition, and Veilguard is 10 years after Inquisition, which means Kieran, the possible love child of the Warden, and Morrigan is the adult, and the same average age that his dad was when he ended the Blight. That's a massive potential force in the world. They will have to address, even without the old god soul, he still has crazy potential.
Honestly, with all that potential, it's a wonder Kieran isn't a possible companion. He definitely needs his own game or something. It could be an easy way to continue the Warden's story. You could carry some of your Warden's strength into Kieran and make him a mage hybrid or something. Only problem with that is there is a slim possibility Kieran doesn't exist in some people's worlds.
Yeah, all like 5 people that didn't do the dark ritual. I agree. Kieran should definitely be like a super strong war asset or something in Veilguard.
Also, did you all see that the elven gods have some kind of awakened form, like a zone fruit in One Piece? The anime is strong with the elves. 2 of them can become blighted archdemons, and Solus becomes a blighted wolf.
Again, that kind of shit is super hype, but has the chance to be incredibly lore-breaking too. Also, you boys going to get that deluxe edition or the collector's pack in the BioWare store?
I would get that pack for that dope lyrium knife alone, but all my money is tied into the campaign and legal fees at the moment.
I am waiting for Michelle to give me some allowance from her book money so I can grab it. I saw George pull some more oil money to get the pack just for the dice it has. Like he doesn't care about the lore knife or the art, he just wants more special D20 dice for D&D.
I'm not going to grab it, but our editor used all the YouTube money he has earned since we started this series to get the deluxe edition of Veilguard and the collector's pack, minus our cut, of course.
Cool, then I can just steal his lyrium knife and stab you 2 fucks in the back like you stabbed me in the back this episode.
Co-partner. You know, maybe this would have been too similar to the first Redcliffe defense mission, But I think if you saved the village the first time around the Redcliffe militia dwindled, and the knights should have been fighting in the village to add more bodies to the fight as an extra reward for defending the village. As it is, it feels like even though we saved the village, it doesn't really matter because it gets wiped by the Darkspawn anyway.
Goddamn Bill, you're cooking a damn 5-star meal today? That sounds like a perfect way to reward our choices in Redcliffe. Even if it doesn't even make the battle easier, it would give the impression that the battle was different and easier because of our choices.
Wait, hold up, there's a boss at the end of the Redcliffe section, God damn it. How the hell did you even remember that Sleepy? And why the hell is there a boss when you do Redcliffe, but when I defend Redcliffe, I get jack shit?
Figured I would end my last fight in Origins with an ogre fight and kill animation boys just to come full circle from where I started.
I think this makes your first episode with 5 bosses killed. Joe, welcome to the club, good shit.
Wait, if Joe has 5 this episode, what is his total boss counter?
That would make you and Joe tied at 17 and I have 15, but I'm going to tackle the ending, so we will get a final count of our Origins counter next episode.
I hate you both. This is a rigged competition, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't end at Origins. We still have all of Awakening and my special episode.
Don't forget my special episode too, Donald.
Literally no one cares about your special episode, Barack.
Well, I'm down to see it, Barack. Let me know. When y'all are doing those, I will clear up my schedule. It is pretty big, but I will make it fit.
Phrasing, please.
Speaking of making things fit, Loghain fits right in with the rest of the Sundaries in our squad. Also looks like we have one more big plot reveal for us. Time to learn how we can take out Themi for good. Also, Riordan, you can listen in on him too. Did he call you a bitch? Because that's normally what he calls me.
Joe, I doubt he called Riordan that. I think he's paraphrasing here since Alistair tells us even the most senior Grey Wardens can only understand a little bit of the Archdemon.
No, it's very much real. I can have whole conversations with Themi Berry.
That's because you're a special guy with a special mind, which is why you always get a special short bus to take you to the White House, Sleepy.
Eat a dick.
Wait, hold on, boys. I think I'm missing some context here. Is Joe like hardcore role-playing right now? Or has the early Alzheimer's finally kicked in?
No, Bill, it's more complicated than that. But to give you the spark notes, Joe used Area 51 resources to make a VR Dragon Age game that includes realistic effects and damage, including a Grey Warden joining, which means Joe is actually connected to the Archdemon in-game, and we have to kill it next episode before the Archdemon gains too much sentience and reads Joe's emails or something, I'm not really sure.
Okay, well, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
Couldn't agree more, Bill.
Your concern for my health is heartwarming, boys. Thank you.
So wait a minute. I have literally never spared this asshole even when my warden married Honora. Where the hell is Alistair if he is ruling jointly because the game is treating it like it's just Honora ruling? Does that mean he is in the palace when Daenerys gets raided?
Yeah, no, Alistair isn't at risk of dying during the initial invasion. There's a cut line of dialogue from Aemon that reveals Alistair is out recruiting the local bands for additional troops and signaling the Orlesian Grey Wardens for assistance. He is also believed to be fighting with Tegan during the Daenerys battle, but it is just as possible that he does just wait in the sidelines because of how pissed he is over Loghain being alive.
That's really good that our big bro is safe and still doing his part. But I'm surprised this doesn't impact his rulership, since I think it's stated somewhere that him fighting with the Grey Wardens during the final battle is why he becomes such a beloved ruler of the people.
Well, Joe, I guess we can close out here with a few familiar faces in Redcliffe Castle. We got some dwarven politics to our left, and to our right we have
Mommy. Sorry, Mommy.
Expecting something else was just a skill issue on my part.
Well, damn, y'all sided with the werewolves. Incredibly based, I once asked Monica to cosplay the Lady of the Forest for me, and let me tell you, I did, in fact, have sexual relations with that spirit.
Valid.
Each one of you needs to find God. There's no way. All of you had time to be presidents when you were this down bad.
Believe me, I found God, and just like Ariana said, she is a woman. And her name is Lady of the Forest, who gave her only batty daughter Morrigan to gamers to lust after.
Don't forget about her prophet Liliana.
Amen.
Jesus Christ. Well, thankfully, this is the last time we will see the Lady of the Forest in this game, since from what we learn in Dragon Age 2, she begins to suffer negative effects from the curse that she cannot protect herself or the werewolves from likely an impact of Zathrin no longer being alive. Hawk can find a cure for her, but we are not sure if this is a temporary cure or not.
Gone but never forgotten, Mommy. Next time I put my Minecraft bed next to Morrigan, I will think of you.
Well, let's just call it here, boys. I think I'm finally worn out from the triple threat of degeneracy tonight. Besides, we should save the Reardon conversation for the last episode, so the stakes are fresh in our viewers' minds.
Looks like you boys are at the end of your adventure. I'm going to hit up the President's group chat and cook up a surprise of my own with the editor. Might as well give it our all.
Well, viewers, I hope you enjoyed my last episode of Dragon Age Origins. The debate against Loghain and the Crown is over, and I caught up to Donald on Bosses Killed. Don't forget to leave your comment question on what your favorite moment in this series is. There's a lot of good throwbacks to choose from here, and we know you all have excellent taste. Our editor will respond to every comment as normal, and we are going to feature several comments, so this is your best chance to get featured. We just hit 2,000 subs too, which is a massive W, and our editor made a Discord channel to interact with the growing community, link down below. Don't forget to stick a thumb in my ass and like the video, and we will see you all next time, where Barak will finish the final fight against the Archdemon and become the hero of Ferelden, as well as say goodbye to our goated squad. But for now, stay safe, Biden out.